1, 2, get down. Paid the cost to be the boss.
Welcome to Boss Bikes from San Francisco today. Yes, that's the King Kong building. The rides in this review are Indians, the Chief Vintage and the Chieftain. They're two of a trio, the third being the Roadmaster. Though Indian is one of the original inhabitants of the US motorcycling scene, it was eclipsed for years by Harley-Davidson. In 2011, that changed. New investment brought new bikes, and to start with, new bikes needed new engines. Enter the Thunderstroke 111. It's an 1800cc air-cooled V-twin, full of torque, full of character, full on. Another thing investment brought was better design. Love it or not, the Indian Chief Vintage catches the eye. We have never had more people spontaneously start conversations with us. Usually they congratulated us on having such a great bike. With its peppermint and cream looks, it's a real spectacle, a head-turner. The Chieftain, particularly in the black colourway we had, is way more subtle. Dark, brooding, heavy. It ranges across the roads, its exhaust beating people out of the way. Even standing still, it's a totem pole for praise. All the details work and feel like good quality. That Indian Chief, in what looks like glass up front on the fender, is a work of art. The instruments are clear and cool, controls are big and obvious. Lights and indicators are powerful and clear, just like the rest of the bike in its identity. We've enjoyed working with Eagle Riders this week, our hosts and suppliers of our two bikes. Yoni,
Pleasure.
great to meet you.
Pleasure.
I understand you're the rental and sales boss here at Eagle Riders.
Correct. Yeah.
Tell me a bit about Eagle Riders. We've had great fun dealing with you guys for the week, and we'd obviously like to know a bit more about the company.
So the company is great. It allows people to rent motorcycles and kind of create their dreams here to ride alongside the coast or from East Coast to West Coast to East Coast, wherever you name it. Basically to help them live their dreams and see all of America.
When people think about coming to the States and renting a bike or buying a bike, it's always a Harley that you think of, isn't it?
Yeah, truthfully it is.
And they've obviously invested in a new line of engines and chassis, and they've done development, and the aesthetics are changing.
Correct.
What's the Indian like for you?
I love the bike. Great torque straight off the bat from zero to go. It's like a little rabbit. You get to zoop off.
Yeah.
Other than that, clean aesthetic with this vintage that we have here. Real nice, just classic engine onto the bike there. That's the old school classic aesthetic, is which I love about the Indians.
And do you think it's a different riding experience having a Harley or an Indian?
For a Harley for a week, I think the only thing that might have changed would be the viewer's perception of you as more of a bad boy or a rebel.
On a Harley?
Yeah.
What is the kind of general perception of an Indian rider?
An Indian rider is someone, with class, a little bit of style onto them, that likes more of that old aesthetic. So,
okay.
Yeah.
If this was an animal?
This was an animal. I would have to say like a gazelle. Real graceful, real beautiful, like by itself, just in its own wild habitat. It's real clean.
One thing we didn't expect was to be joined by a group of Harley riders from Birmingham, out in California to check out the Indian and have a gallop up to Napa to test their wines. Their verdict? The Indians are much more subtle. So what are these bikes like to ride? Relaxed, comfortable, calm. Every single outing is an event. Loads of bikes are faster, more powerful, quicker to turn, and I have to say, stop. But we've never been on anything which gives such an immediate feeling of wellness and contentment. As James Brown used to say, I feel good. These are happy-making bikes, reaching into you, lifting your spirits. That alone makes them great. Indian have put a lot of effort into these bikes. The engines just look brilliant. They sound even better. Even the way they start is cool. Touch the button, and rather than pressing the electric motor into start, you just wait for it to dance into life. For the record, the Indian Chief Vintage has a fixed screen which gives great wind protection. That's if you don't mind being dazzled by its acres of chrome from time to time. The Chieftain has a much more sophisticated setup, with an electric screen that works brilliantly and a fairing to help. It cossets you. Despite their immense weight, these bikes are a doddle to ride. With a low seat, easy geometry, standing, starting and stopping are all anxiety-free. And indeed, 60 miles per hour has never felt so satisfying, and you can run the prairie all day on them. So, is there anything that's not great about these bikes? Well, they're not the fastest. Their brakes are sort of relaxed. Suspension is soft and it will bottom out, 2 up, hitting a bump on the freeway. And although that engine gently massages your ego with its thrumming exhaust, it does have one little vice. On a trailing throttle, up to a stop, it'll always give a late kick. One other thing, in a city as hilly as this, a hill start setting, like the ones that KTM and BMW and others use, would have been great. Yoni, at Eagle Riders, spoke of a gazelle. We know what he means. This is a graceful animal. But for us, it's much more than that. This Indian is a full-blooded bison, content in its great size, rumbling through life confident in its power, happy to dominate its landscape. It really is the ruler of America's wide-open spaces.
Look at me, I'm what you call an Indian. That's something that I never was before. But one day I met this gifted Mahugian. Right away he grabbed me for his sword.